I'm Paul Sparks. I'm the commercial director at iplicit, and I've worked in the accounting and business software space for 35 years, and which makes me feel old when I say that. My early days were back in the early editions of Sage, pre-Sage 50 as we would know it today in the market. It goes back to a product called BusinessWise. And then I was involved with a product called Sky Software that was acquired by Sage that became Line 100 and then Line 200. So yeah, and then I also worked with Pegasus. And then a big proportion of my career, and what people probably best know me for, is I was heavily involved with the creation and the bringing to market of the Exchequer product as one of the original team there. And it's that team and that group of people that have really come together to create our new product that we launched in 2019, which is iplicit. It's already award-winning. It's a mid-market, mid-sector accounting and finance solution. Very, very functional, true cloud, helps people who are outgrowing old legacy type software, which we obviously know lots of, and those people perhaps are outgrowing entry-level cloud systems like Xero, QuickBooks, and etc. So we launched that product in 2019. We now have over 10,500 daily users across 72 countries, and nearly 1,000 organizations using the platform. So I'm a huge believer in working with an organization first and working on, without even having those strategic partnerships in place. And that's something that we've done previously, because you learn so much about each other. You learn about what type of organization it is, whether you've got the right culture, etc., to work together. And certainly in the case of Lightyear, it's been a great example of why you would do that, because we've learned so much. We can see how well aligned we are. We're looking at the same type of organizations as in terms of customers. So yeah, that's proved really key. But in terms of the wider piece of strategic partnerships, iplicit is a very functional product. We can't do everything. Yeah. And certainly, in the case of, for example, the Lightyear product, you have such a functionally rich product that, yes, there's choice out there in the market in AP, but very much, Lightyear brings together so many of the different functions that people are looking for. And ultimately, we're responding to what our customers are asking. It's hard to ignore automation. And I think the thing that makes me chuckle is that automation's not new. Automation's been there for a long time, in many different guises, and I've seen it come and I've seen it go. And there's probably opportunities 10, 15 years ago for automation to be much more prevalent than it actually is today. Clearly, with the power of social media, the power of news and networks, we're hearing much more about how some of that sort of newer chat GPT type automation, but in reality, in our market space, in accounting and finance, ultimately a big part of what is done is processing. The more we can automate functions, that means there's less processing being done by that finance team. That finance team can add better insight, better value, and help that organization make better decisions and empower the management and the people who are guiding that organization or company in the right way. And so I think that's why it's so important, is that it just, the power to be able to give good decision data to people is going to come off the back of finance teams not spending all their time processing. So that for me is kind of key trend number one. I think the other trend is that I do genuinely believe that in the not too distant future, we will have better interoperability between systems. And I know that working on the partnership with Lightyear, the teams, we both use very modern public API technology. And that integration has meant that it's a lot easier task than what it would have been 5-10 years ago. And I feel that there's even more to happen around that area, that, you know, more of our systems can all sit together, integrate simpler, easier, and then ensure that people can pick and choose and get the right product from their best of breed choices that suits their particular needs. So those are the two key trends I see. And they're ultimately all extensions. They're all things that have been happening for a while, but it's just the pace and about how adoption has become much wider. Well, I think the first thing is that I personally, and it's my own insight, is that I don't feel that I have an exclusivity on good ideas. So the one thing that I have been very fortunate in my career, and it's something that I learned from a manager early on, is surround yourself with great people. So I'm not trying to find people who agree with me. I'm not trying to find people who are going to say the same things as me. I want people who are actually good at what they do and have, you know, have extra ideas, new ideas, different approaches to bring, so that the collective masses of energy and ideas will get us our success. So that's one. But I would combine that with an old adage, and not everybody agrees with this, by the way, but it certainly worked for me, is that I've always found the harder I work, the luckier I get. And that's possibly out of fashion these days. You should work smart, etc. So I'm not saying don't work smart, but definitely understand your strategy, understand what you're going to do, and then execute against it. Don't fliss around having lots of ideas all the time. Have a clear plan and then execute against that plan. And then look back and review. I'm not saying take a, take a look and see where you are. Of course, you need to review and course adjust. But I see so many people who try and do so many things all at the same time, and they wonder why they don't get traction in certain areas. Well, that's because you're trying to do too many things, and you need time and effort and presence in a particular space or an area to build that up.